and public opinion. Those were recreation, police, and preservation of natural resources. Well, you know, as you all know, we have been working on police. We've, you know, the current budget has a street crimes unit, an additional officer in that. We received a grant that the council will have an opportunity to review and act on, if they so choose, for an additional street crimes officer and a school resource officer to bring that back to the middle schools. We've got a young force, getting those, you know, individuals out and about, out of their vehicles, talking to folks. Those are things that, you know, that we're working on now. So, you know, one more part of the discussion: how do we make the biggest impact and utilize these results to address people's perceptions? And I guess one more comment that was made during the editorial board, which I thought was interesting, was, you know, having a champion, someone or a group, whatever it might be, whether it's downtown or, you know, if it was the riverfront previously, having someone or a group be a champion to get things up and running, somebody that's going to stay on top of it, somebody that's going to be out there and about in support of whatever that item might be. These are some of the comments in the condensed version. This is a discussion we had last Saturday as well. It's been a little bit condensed, but this is exactly, I guess, what I've been looking for, is trying to get feedback from folks around town, from the business community, from individuals, you know, and from staff, and from, obviously, from the council as we look to next year and our goals. How do we address the perceptions that have been identified in this report, so that you can use them, so that staff can utilize them, as, you know, especially in our, you know, in our budget process that's coming up, which is your number one policy document. It says, you know, it indicates, gives you a roadmap of what we're going to be doing for the next fiscal year. How do we incorporate these ideas and concepts into that? So how do we begin to address these issues? You know what we're doing. You know about the website. You know about, you know, a lot of these issues and what we're doing to address them. I guess, do you agree with these perceptions or these issues? I mean, I'd like to kind of have some of the discussion we had last Saturday.
Okay, Osama.
Well, first of all, this is just me here. I know that Muscatine is a great community, and I am proud to say that Muscatine is home, and I'm very proud of that. However, with this survey coming in here, as a city, we cannot close our eyes and just say this is the perception of people saying this, they don't know what they're talking about. And the reason is, I think there is room for improvement on our part as a city here to fix, to assist, and to enhance the community here as a whole. We probably need to shift our resources in certain areas here to comply with what the citizens are asking for, what the citizens want. And now we have a survey, we have answers back here. The question is, how are we going to act on this? We cannot just say, oh, that's their perception, we are doing everything great, we're doing everything 100%, we have everything for everybody. We cannot do that. We need to look at it with open eyes and make sure that we address these issues here. Probably we cannot satisfy everybody, and we cannot spend resources on every single item that it's asked from us here, but we can take one issue, one subject at the time here, see if we can shift some of the resources here to fix that and maintain and accommodate the needs of the community. And that will be a start here. But in no way that we should sit here and say that everything is perfect here. There's room for improvement, and it's our job, it's our responsibility to act on it and move forward with it. So that should be a start, in my opinion.
I agree with you 100%, and we started that last Saturday by identifying goals and priorities for the next fiscal year, and those can hopefully translate into the budget as well for goals and priorities as well. So,
other questions or comments? Council.
Just two comments, Mayor. One, I totally agree about the marketing situation. As a matter of fact, That's one of the reasons I ran for city council in 2009 was we don't market ourselves. We don't do it. We don't invest anything in doing it. And we really need to come up with a plan to market Muscatine because nobody knows what we have here. Even the residents don't know what we have here. And we have to start reminding them of all the good things we have here. Otherwise, like Greg said, a lot of these things we already know there are issues. We've been working on them, and you know, the big part of it is it can't just be city council. It can't just be city. I think a big part of it is how do we get more people involved in these issues? How do we get more people involved in fixing these issues? I think that's part of the disconnect as well. We make any number of comments that I know I do, that we come here on Thursday nights and it's a very sparse crowd. No one seems interested in city council sessions. We've got to find a way to get more people involved and wanting to be involved in city activities and in projects. And again, I think that goes back to marketing and creating a pride in your community.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
And just a quick follow-up, we talked a little bit about the comprehensive plan and the process that'll be coming forward, a very public process that'll be coming forward, going out into the neighborhoods and getting folks involved. That'll be a very important piece, you know, of what we're talking about here tonight, getting out there and getting folks involved in that next comprehensive plan. So.
Okay, council, who else? Jerry?
Greg, how many surveys were sent out again?
1,500, I believe.
And how many?
Random.
How many were sent back?
431.
What percent of them came back, I guess?
It was close to 40%. I'd have to go back and look specifically.
Is that
38,
considered,
I think it was 38%.
is that considered a really good percent?
40% plus is considered very good. I think ours was 38%. I'd have to go back and
Yeah.
look.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
I'm not so sure that's a good cross-section of people that could have responded. It's more likely people that have concerns and have a negative feeling are going to reply to a random sampling like this. Don't you feel that's possible?
Certainly possible. Probably one important reason that many communities do this on a regular basis. Not every year, perhaps, but every third year. Check up on where you are, send out a new random sample, see how the responses are coming in, so you can compare and see how you're improving, you're not improving, where you stand today. You may get a different sample back, as you indicate as well.
But I know personally, if I were participating and I had concerns, I'd be more likely to send that back in to express it's an opportunity to express my concerns. As to what we offer, people look so much to the Quad Cities, maybe Iowa City, as places that offer opportunities that we don't, but we also can't. We don't have the population, we don't have some of the resources. I'm thinking of, for instance, cultural. I mean, we do have some good cultural things available, but do we have the museums like Davenport, the size of those and what they offer? Do we have the wireless center where they have national performances come in? Do we have Broadway productions that are brought into the Adler? Those are all things that Muscatine people do attend and enjoy. And sometimes they think, maybe these are some things we should provide too, but of course it's not reasonable to expect that. But there are those opportunities elsewhere that we cannot afford, or that, like you said, businesses are not going to come in because it's not going to prove successful. I don't know how widely these attitudes prevail, but it is troublesome to think about it.
maybe the quality of life in Muscatine, it's much better up in the Quad Cities, though, you know, you have to look at it differently, so, and you need to start thinking that Iowa City and the Quad City is the suburb of Muscatine, so maybe that's
Exactly.
Well,
good, would be a good start, that might be a good start.
I think we could even maybe best them in recreation facilities, you know, with the soccer fields and
And we can
Kent Stein and.
market our sports and recreation, absolutely, for sure. We just have to make sure, it's a task. What you don't want to do is take the negative and do nothing with it, and then that negative becomes reality. It just sits there. And so we don't want that to happen. What we need to do, as we're doing now, the goals, objectives, the comprehensive plan, start working on the directions that we want to make sure we address the issue, and to make sure, as much as we can, the public doesn't always listen unless we're doing something wrong. Then they're quick to let us know, or a difference of opinion, but to let the public know these are the things we're addressing. We heard what you had to say. Now here is the direction we're going. Here are our goals, objectives. Here is what's going to happen in Muscatine. Is it going to happen overnight? And to change the negative to those who are negative, it's only going to take us one-on-one every time we hear a negative to respond back to those people. I'm sorry, but you do have a choice of restaurants in Muscatine. I just got the information from Ms. Chopa, and it was 54 restaurants in Muscatine, including fast food. I mean, how much more could our community, there's a choice. You can't, that's one new restaurant a week. So you take the information and be ready to come back with replies to people when they have a negative, turn it into a positive. Or if you can't, then note the information and share it with city administrator and staff, and so we can work on fixing it.
Who else, counsel? Who else has a comment? Phil? Nothing? Bob? Nothing?
Your Honor, I just ponder on that survey, and there's a lot of ideas that come up with it, a lot of concerns, but it really boils down to one topic. How proud are you of Muscatine? Are you really proud of it? I've grown up in Muscatine all my life. When I was a little leaguer to working within Muscatine, growing middle school on Central Junior High. Muscatine High School has taught me many lessons that I will always remember. Sports, tennis, wrestling, that you name it, Muscatine has a lot to offer, and you really need to just sit back and look at the community and decide, do I like it? Don't I like it? If I don't like it, what don't I like about it? And then come up with an answer, a solution on how to solve it. But I don't think you're going to find a community like Muscatine that simply is not the best. There isn't too many communities that are better than Muscatine. Yeah, we may not have some restaurants that everybody wants. We may not have the stylish clothes that the Quad Cities or Iowa City, or you got to go all the way to Des Moines to find. But you need to be proud of what you got and go for the gusto. And Muscatine has it. Truly, it really has it, or I wouldn't be here today. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Bob. No one else? Greg?
This is a continuing conversation. This is not, the conversation is not over today. As Councilmember Roby indicated, we need to have this conversation that needs to continue. It needs to be reflected in our goals and our goals discussion. It needs to be reflected in the choices we make at budget time going forward. This is an ongoing conversation about how do we improve Muscatine. So, and I agree. I think it's a great place to live.
Okay, that's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's time for council comments. We'll start tonight with Jerry.
You're switching on us.
Yes, I did.
The progress on Cedar Street was mentioned. I'm sure people have noticed the changes that are taking place there, and they're installing culverts. The appearance of the highway and the surrounding area already is much improved. So